I just pulled in here to Nebraska. If that buck steps out, I do plan to shoot him. There's more deer moving. There's deer kind of everywhere right now. Buck. He's out there just on the other side of those trees. I'll take him from here. This past season, I headed to Nebraska to hunt whitetail during the state's mid-November rifle season. The property I will be hunting is a business venture of mine that was hit hard by EHD in 2012 and 2013, killing off many of the mature bucks on the property. My partner and I originally bought the property to improve the waterfowl habitat, but the property also has a lot of turkeys and deer, and we are managing the habitat for all the species.
Alright, that's what we like.
The decision to go on this hunt was last minute, and with no videographers available to tag along, I decided to self-film the adventure and hopefully not get in too much trouble. We have added food plots and some larger agricultural fields over the years. I hunted this property last year as well, but only had opportunities at younger bucks. I'm hoping that this is the year I get my hands on a mature whitetail buck. Well, I just pulled in here to Nebraska. Enough time for a good afternoon set. It's almost 70 degrees right now. Tomorrow the weather's supposed to change, as well as Friday. It's supposed to be cold. It's what we've been waiting on. The rut's just been pretty much non-existent. Get final preps, check a couple trail cams on the way in, and see if we can't make something happen tonight. After checking the trail cams, I was encouraged to see a few decent bucks have been in the area. I'm sitting here in a new stand. Looks over an alfalfa field we put in about a year and a half ago. So it's its first full year. It's about 275 all the way across that alfalfa field. This North Platte River runs back here to the south. Lots of deer travel the river and then they'll funnel out on either side based on normal patterns kind of coming from the east and from the west back here to come into the alfalfa. And I just got here just a couple hours ago, so what they've been doing, who knows, with this heat. In case you can't hear it, the wind really picked up in intensity. I mean, in the last 5 minutes it just started howling. And about that time, 2 deer came out into the field. I know deer hate the high winds, but this is presumably pushing in that snow and rain and cold front that's supposed to be coming in. So another doe just came out at the end of the field. As the afternoon progressed, more and more deer came in the field, including some small bucks. Not hugely wide, but pretty good deer, one of the better ones we've seen. is a pretty good 10 that's here. I'd love to see him. But that's a good sign. Real good sign. It'd be really something in a year.
I always get nervous passing on a decent buck early in the hunt, and this time was no exception. But I had just started my hunt, and we had some other good deer on trail cam photos that I wanted to see. I just hope that decision doesn't come back to bite me. That was a pretty good night. Saw a pretty good buck. He looked like a pretty good 8. Obviously didn't shoot, so I'm kind of fired up for tomorrow. Plenty of deer. I think there were 19 deer in the field last time I could have any good light to really scan with the binos, so tomorrow's another day. Let's see if we get any moisture.
There's a buck with a doe out there.
That buck steps out. I do plan to shoot him. Pure Hunting is brought to you by Browning, the best there is, and by Browning Ammunition. Wooden Stream Boots, footwear created for the great American outdoors and beyond, and these other fine companies. The second morning in Nebraska, I returned to the same stand as the night before, hoping that the large number of deer in the alfalfa would attract a bigger buck.
I've been sitting in here for about an hour. I've been able to see for about 30-45 minutes, and nothing was in here when it first got light, but now I've got a couple does out there and had a little spike come right by here, and that's what I've been hearing about. What's going on is the little bucks are chasing, but the big boys just aren't yet. Although I ran into a guy at the grocery store last night who said it's starting to turn on. The weather is much, much better today. It's a little bit windy, but it's cold. I mean, it's under 30 finally, and it's only supposed to be in the 30s, maybe low 40s, as opposed to 70. So we'll see what happens. I mean, the deer that I've seen have materialized out of nowhere, and if we get a buck cruising, you can always get surprised.
After a relatively uneventful morning in the stand, the winter weather decided to finally show up for the evening sit.
The wind picked up and the moisture started coming down. Probably only have about an hour and 15 minutes of light, maybe an hour and a half. But in here and with the cloud cover, it's going to get dark earlier. But hopefully there's going to be some deer on their feet. I'm expecting them to feed out where they did last night. So hopefully I'll have a shot right in here. And looked at that buck that came out last night. Could he do better in a year? Probably, but just lack of good bucks that we have on this property after EHD a couple of years ago. I'd love to just shoot a big mature one, but we really don't have them on trail camera, so if that buck steps out, I do plan to shoot him. Got to get situated and be ready because it could happen at any time. There's a buck with a doe out there off this property and quite a ways off, but even from this distance I can see the frame of his antlers. He's just coming out from behind that post right now. Classic case of a buck keeping a doe away from everybody else out in the open. It's hard to know from this far away how good he is, but I can see antlers from this far away, so he's got to be decent. It'd be great if he'd work over this way to feed.
The weather continued to worsen as the afternoon progressed. With no new bucks showing themselves by dark, it was time to head to the lodge for the night. Well, it has gotten cold and nasty and snowy. It's howling. I don't know, the wind's probably blowing 35 miles an hour. It's blizzard conditions. It's a lot worse than they said it's going to be. It's supposed to break and be sunny in the morning, which could make for a pretty good hunting day.
it's a cold, windy day today, but at least it quit snowing. Seen a little bit of deer movement this morning. Not a ton, but just saw that smaller buck, but he was definitely with his nose to the ground searching out a doe. It's barely just broken sunrise. I mean, it's only 7 o'clock. So I think the plan is to give this a couple of hours, see if anything might be out cruising, kind of like that buck, and maybe move stands, get back in some of the bedding area or near the bedding area in the Russian olives on the other side of the river with this wind. I think they're gonna want to be hunkered down, and those bucks may be cruising to check does out. So pretty morning except for the wind. That was pretty exciting. There's obviously some deer movement and running going on. I'd seen some chasing back there in the trees. That really tall, young, white-horned 8-point, and then a pretty good solid 8, big body. But I just know there's a good 9 in that one that probably is also a 9 that first evening. Deer on their feet, that's good. Give it a little time and maybe do a little bit more grunting and maybe a rattling sequence if we can't get the big boy in here. That's exciting. That's good stuff. There's more deer moving. There's deer kind of everywhere right now.
On the third day in Nebraska, the cold weather got more deer moving, but still no sign of a mature buck.
Well, tonight's starting out to be a pretty good night. I just moved back over to the north side, over the alfalfa field, and there's already 3 does out in the alfalfa. I got a buck tending a doe right over here in the corner. One doe walked past, and I saw a buck working through the woods. I think one of those that I saw this morning, a tall, white-racked little 8. There's more deer moving. There's 3 out there. Into the alfalfa. There's deer kind of everywhere right now. Just need the big buck to step out. Now there's this other buck coming out in the field. See what he does with those 2. Pushing the little one away. Boy, that's what you like to see, though. Just want to see a big boy doing that.
At the end of the day, I had yet to spot a mature buck, even though there was a lot of deer activity. On the last day of my rifle season, my worries that the buck population on the property hadn't recovered from EHD were starting to reemerge.
It's a brand new day. Nebraska deer. Rifle season's almost over. I do have an antlerless tag. And obviously I'm reluctant to shoot a doe when there could be a buck around the corner to blow it out, but time to fill the freezer too. All right. Well, I just filled my doe tag. There's that buck. There's another deer out there. It's another doe. It's amazing. After a rifle blast and everything, within 10 minutes you can have more deer activity than I've had most of the morning. All the morning. Now, I can just hunt for a buck. That feels good. I think it's time to go retrieve my doe, get the truck in here, load her up, and take care of her, get ready for the evening hunt. Don't misunderstand me, I love a good pack out of the mountains, quartering them up, but this makes it pretty nice. So I'm gonna load her up, take her someplace else to gut her. On the way back to the house during the firearm season, you need to stop and check these, so I'll do that. Then hang her up and probably skin her and quarter her out. Put her in the cooler and get ready to head home tonight.
Hunting alone can be great, but it also creates some challenges you don't always think about.
For two people, sure would make it nice. Fuck. He's out there just on the other side of those trees. I'm gonna take him from here.
Pure Hunting is brought to you by Fox Pro, high performance game calls. Hoyt, get serious, get Hoyt. And by Wilderness Athlete, the authority on outdoor performance nutrition, and these other fine companies. Be sure to check out Tenzing for their full line of packs, from small day packs up to the 6,000, which is a phenomenal pack for the backcountry hunter. I travel a fair amount on some of my hunts, and when I'm traveling with my gear, I trust Plano to get my equipment there safely. It was my last day of the hunt in Nebraska, and I was content to head home with my doe. I did have one evening left and had hoped that the last evening sit would prove successful.
Last evening set. I've sat in here a few times just over this alfalfa field. Got a good south wind, which actually, if they get into the field, isn't good, but as they move into the field is great. Hopefully gonna get her done on the last evening here. I've got everything packed up in the truck, loaded up, so as soon as I get down out of here, I'm heading home. Hopefully I'm cutting out a buck and checking him in on the way home. It's been a fun hunt. Finally got some meat on the ground. I'd like to put some antlers on the ground. There's a buck. That buck's just standing out there. He's out there just on the other side of those trees. I'm gonna take him from here. Holy crap. I can't believe that just happened. Whew. I hadn't been in the stand 5-10 minutes, 10 minutes tops. This doe came out with this buck following. Great buck. Tall, pretty good mass. He was hot on that doe. He just stopped out there beyond the trees. So I tried a couple doe bleeds. He didn't seem too interested, and it was about a 150-yard shot, so I took it. Quarter and two, just put it on that shoulder, and he dropped in his tracks. I cannot believe it. Cannot believe it. Oh, I'm shaking. Let's go check him out. I cannot believe it. Oh boy. It's just a great deer. Just gorgeous. It is the one from the other night. Kick her off the brow, good brows. Kick her off the G2 on the right. Carries his mass throughout. He's a little worn there. Oh, I'm just pumped. Mainframe 8, he's got a little 9 there. Oh, you know, he's just a good solid deer. Not a giant, but a great deer. Got him on trail cam, and this was the one from the first night that I said I wasn't gonna pass. Wow. Got him out, load him in the back of the truck, and see about maybe taking some field photos. I was heading home tonight. Call my wife. I'm pumped. He's gonna be more of a load to put up in there. A lot more of a load.
Sometimes strange things happen. I include getting that buck on the last night after I passed on him on the first night as one of them. While the buck population in this area continues to recover, I was happy as I saw a lot of young promising bucks on this hunt. And I can't wait to see what some of these bucks become next year.
Well, got him in there. I turned the camera off because I didn't want to embarrass myself. That was not easy. But we got him in. And that's a wrap.